Suffice it to say, I am very happy to be here. I have been looking forward to this opportunity for me to address the Democrats in the state of Hawaii. 2 days ago, I gathered with family, friends, and loved ones, went back to my hometown of Kalihi, and shared with the public my goals and aspirations for a better Hawaii. And let me state today before this august body, I will be a candidate for the office of the governor of the state of Hawaii. For more than 50 years, the Democratic Party has been a force for good in this state of ours. Many of the changes and improvements that we see today, many of the benefits that have been passed on is a result of the Democratic Party. And there are those that would like to suggest that somehow we are this monolithic structure, a structure that perhaps has grown too tired, too weary, too old. We beg to differ. Ours is a party of diversity. Ours is a party that welcomes all people. Ours is a party of a big tent. Ours is a party that does not pay attention or disregards people because of their race, color, creed. It doesn't matter whether you've lived here all your life, whether you were born and raised here, or if you just moved here. We are a party of opportunity. We are a party of hope. That being said, to truly understand the essence of why I want to be your governor, it's important to go back to my roots. It's important to go back to my values. It's important to go back to my parents. You see, the Democratic Party's rise to power began in 1954. In 1959, we became a state. And then everyone pulled together under Democratic leadership to ensure that the state would move forward and be part of the United States of America, entitled to every right and benefit accorded to every member of the State of the Union. I was born in 1954. My parents moved here in 1953. In 1959, the year that we achieved statehood, is when I first entered public education as a kindergartner. And through the years, as I was growing up in Kalihi, my parents went through the same type of immigrant story many of you gathered here today went through. Father was a hard-working man, worked 3 jobs to put bread on the table. Mom was no different, made sure of her home. The children came first, and she tended to our needs. And through the years, as they instilled in me a desire for public service by saying to me, young man, get as much education as possible, and then use that education to help others. I've been inspired, I've been motivated, I've been invigorated by the stories of elected Democratic officials across the board since statehood. From John Burns, who talked about sometimes we suffer from a spirit of inferiority, that we don't want to step up to the plate, that somehow we feel inadequate because we're from Hawaii. And he made it possible for all of us because of what he advocated, from statehood, the East-West Center, to his dream for the University of Hawaii, to inspire all of us. And it doesn't matter what your background is, what your mother and father do for a living, whether you got a college degree or not. This is Hawaii, this is America, the American dream is alive and well. From Governor George Ariyoshi, who gave me my first job in public service. Kodoma no Tamani, for the sake of the children. That's why he talked about a preferable future. That's why he talked about a society where we do things for our children and our children's children. And he stressed to me the importance of watching people's money. Fiscal accountability was important. And those lessons I've taken with me as the mayor of the 12th largest city in the United States. From Governor John David Whitehead, who had me as a director of the Department of Business, Economic Development, and Tourism. This man was always about no give up. Never give up. How else can you explain to someone who's 36 behind in the polls in his quest to be governor? He refused to quit. He continued to press forward. And as working as his DBED director, he would talk to me many times about Hawaii's role in the Pacific Asian Basin. And so he inspired me with the ongoing vision of King David Kalakaua, which back then he tried to promote Hawaii around the world as an important place to learn something from. Patsy Takimoto Minka. From her, I learned the importance of treating all people fairly, making sure that women, in particular, are not left out of the workforce or have the same kind of opportunities as men, and certainly that translates to all minorities. That's why I'm very proud to have an administration that has some of the best women, the most women that serve with me as directors, deputy directors, and senior aides. And then last but not least, our venerable Senator, Daniel K. Inouye. What more can you say about a man now who has reached the pinnacle of his career of being the chair of the Appropriations Committee? But this is what I've learned from him. Your word is your bond. Here is a person in Washington, D.C., who I've heard from Democrats and Republicans who say, I don't need something in writing from Senator Inouye. Once he gives his word, it's good. And I hear this from Democrats, Republicans. I hear that from people here at home. I hear it from people who he served with in the 442nd 100th Infantry Battalion. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention two other local leaders in Washington, D.C. today. What about our President, Barack Obama? First met him when his name was Barry. I was a basketball coach at Iolani. He was a player on the Punahou basketball team. I'd like to confess to you that I knew then he was going to grow up and be President of the United States. No, I didn't know that. But to see him in the White House, to see him holding court, to see him personify the values of Hawaii, everything from a shaka sign to be very adept at knowing and understanding our local culture. The fact that he would choose to come home once a year and say to the rest of the world, Hawaii is not just a great place to vacation, but I can actually conduct business from the White House here. And that gift that he gave us for APEC to be held here in 2011, I pledge that I will do everything I can to make that very successful for the state. I want to build upon the legacy of these elected Democratic officials. I want to build upon the legacy of everyone who has contributed to the betterment of our home. The challenges are so enormous. The challenges are very large. And it's going to take all of us working together. As someone who has been in the private sector, has the management capacity of one of Hawaii's leading companies, has had his own business, has been the director of business, has promoted a very business-like mentality and orientation in running the city. I've never seen the kind of economic challenges that we face today. And certainly it's going to take all of us working together. And you have to say the same for education. I know the value of good teachers who told me when I was in the 6th grade, 5'11" tall, foot taller than anyone in the class. Young man, exercise this and not just your body. You see, teachers make a difference. Principals make a difference. Parents make a difference. And we need to restore once and for all and bring our educational system back and start new goals and objectives that link workforce development so that when our children graduate from school, they are ready to be competitive in the global workforce. Let me now blow this conch out far and wide and say very clearly to rich and poor, to Kama'aina and Malahini, to conservatives and liberals, to all of us who are blessed to call Hawaii home. We need to come together, we need to work together, because the goal is to make Hawaii a better place, not just for some of us, not just for most of us, but for all of us. And until that is achieved, the dream should never die, and the goal should never rest, because Hawaii, you deserve the best.